Speed control is always something to pay attention to when driving. Love speed but need to prioritize safety first. Do you know how serious the consequences of running a red light can be? Despite trying to avoid it, the blue car couldn't escape in time. This car likely lost control and couldn't manage its speed. When your car loses control, it endangers the cars behind as well. Perhaps both cars are at fault for not yielding to each other. Partly due to the slippery snow-covered road, the sudden braking caused the wheels to slip. The carelessness of the oncoming vehicle can result in shared misfortune. At this speed, it seems the driver pressed the accelerator by mistake. Do you think the driver has learned how to avoid obstacles while driving? If both drivers had braked, this accident wouldn't have happened. The car suddenly changed lanes, and the driver left after causing the accident. The collision was so strong, it's unclear if the car is okay. Making a careless U-turn can have dangerous consequences. The red car caused the problem, but fled immediately after. Controlling speed is always essential when driving. Fortunately, the driver is still okay. It really is a horrifying speed-related accident. It looks like this car did it on purpose. It seems both cars failed to control their speed well. If speed isn't controlled, a chain reaction accident is sure to happen. Sometimes unfortunate accidents happen at the most normal times. The car in front doesn't seem to realize it backed into another car. Intersections are often the places where accidents occur the most. Why did the driver make a U-turn on a one-way street? It's unclear which car will be fined in this situation. Speeding is always one of the quickest ways to an accident. If stuck on a railway track, you should escape first. It's unclear how fast the red car was going. All road collisions leave terrible consequences. Perhaps the car crashed into the rear vehicle to avoid the dog. Never drive against the flow, no matter the reason. If you drive a car, you should regularly maintain and check the equipment. The car owner has likely learned the importance of reversing. Welcome to the Roadside Realities channel. Traffic incidents caused by reckless and irresponsible driving are always a concern. Today, we will discuss and learn valuable lessons from these situations. Now, let's get started. A car lost control, crashed into a series of oncoming vehicles. It was truly horrifying. The car didn't lose its brakes. Perhaps the driver wasn't paying attention while driving. Being impacted from behind always makes it impossible for vehicles to react in time. A car intended to cross the road without braking. The consequences will be immediate. this car sped down from the grassy area. It's unclear where it came from. The car suddenly caught fire. Fortunately, the nearby cars were not affected. The car kept changing lanes and its speed was inconsistent, affecting the car behind. Don't do that. The car was driving when the rear end started shaking violently, probably due to missing parts. It's very dangerous. It seems the black car didn't pay attention to the distance, not because of the weather. The container truck driver couldn't see the sign behind, leading to a collision. The driver was trying to get the car out of there, but why did they go in there in the first place? The car had to stop under the bridge because it didn't notice the height of the bridge and the roof of the car. The oncoming car encroached too deeply into the lane, going too fast, causing the collision. The road should be repaired. Otherwise, it will be very dangerous for passing vehicles. Another collision because of not paying attention to height. Vehicles with long tails should pay attention to both driving speed and braking speed. The car lost its brakes, leading to a major collision. Hopefully, no one was injured. Crowding like that is very dangerous. Don't do that. A major collision due to encroaching too deeply into the lane. The car lost control and braked suddenly when entering the main road, causing an accident. The car crashed into the gas station. It's fortunate that there was no explosion. Continuously changing your driving speed easily leads to accidents. Trying to encroach to overtake like that will definitely cause a collision. Don't do it. If you want to be safe, stand behind the road barriers. Don't try to cross. It seems the driver of the green car didn't know what they were doing. No one was injured, but in the rain, you should drive slowly and avoid sudden braking. The wheel rolled, making it unavoidable. The driver kept calm very well in this situation. Just looking at the rising smoke shows how horrifying the fire was. The sign suddenly fell. Luckily, it didn't cause any major damage. The car lost balance, the rear end was too heavy, and although the driver braked, the car still toppled over. There are situations that drivers can't anticipate. Just staying calm is good. The car stopped to maintain balance, but it was too late. The collision didn't cause serious consequences, but it's a lesson about speed for the driver. Avoiding the collision was perhaps a stroke of luck. It's all due to not controlling speed, leading to the collision. Cars suddenly crossing the road often cause trouble for surrounding vehicles. Hopefully, the car driver will not run red lights in the future. The car flipped over due to the collision. Fortunately, everything is still okay. A waterlogged road is also a reason accidents easily happen while driving. Encroaching the lane and then quickly running away shows the driver has no sense. When driving a car, you must keep a firm grip on the wheel and stay highly focused. Not every time you run a red light, you will be lucky. The driver should try to stop the car instead of driving in that condition. Cars with hooks like these should have the assistants help the drivers. It's fortunate to end the video with a case where no one was injured. The driver was both speeding and not paying attention. A car with failed brakes crashed into the wall of a store. Truly horrifying. The driver cleared the way for himself in an unimaginable manner. There have been many accidents on railway tracks. Why do drivers still stop there? After the collision, both cars had issues. Drivers need to learn from this. Was it the driver's inattention, or did the car lose control and veer off the road? The fault is definitely with the white car, turning too wide and speeding. The car skidded and spun around but didn't collide with other vehicles. The container truck losing its brakes is something truly terrifying. You will cause a chain collision if you speed. Don't do that. How did the driver manage to drive the bus like that? How is it possible that a series of cars lost control on the road? A collision between two container trucks. Luckily, no one was injured. Somehow the driver didn't see the car turning. It feels like the black car is trying to block the white car. The car almost caused a collision, but the driver just drove away. Don't run red lights, just don't do it. The bus plunged straight down the cliff. Perhaps the driver pressed the accelerator by mistake. The car left its trunk on the road just because of the driver's mistake. Maybe the car lost control and drove into the oncoming lane. The collision was far away, but still serious enough for us to see its severity. The car rushed into the house in front of everyone's eyes.
Get this all film? Shut up.
The race just started and it's already like this. Maybe it should stop. Both cars didn't observe when crossing the intersection, causing an accident. The collision happened because the cars turned too close to each other. The collision caused both cars to lose control. Hopefully, the drivers are okay. The consequence of not observing while driving. Remember this, drivers. The driver might have decided to surrender by blocking the police car. It's clear that the car lost its brakes. Hopefully, the driver is okay. The container truck still tried to turn after the collision. Maybe the driver didn't realize there was a collision. The consequence of speeding without observing at the intersection. Pressing the accelerator by mistake while reversing is also a concerning action. Maybe the driver didn't know that the tire would fall off that day. The container truck lost its brakes, causing a series of collisions from behind. The driver seems unable to believe what's happening. It's truly horrifying. Unloading everything from the car doesn't mean it's safe. The car caught fire. Luckily, the driver is fine. The bus lost its brakes and rushed down the road, pushing many cars along the way. Can this be called an unexpected accident or a natural accident? The collision happened due to close distance. The white car changed lanes without observing. The plane lost balance while landing, causing the nose to scrape the ground and create sparks. The driver should observe carefully and then reverse, not hit an obstacle and then stop. Passing too closely caused a small collision. Luckily, everything is fine. Why did the driver move the car sideways like that? Truly puzzling. There was almost a collision when changing lanes. Don't drive like that. The container truck lost its brakes, causing a horrifying accident. The container truck stopped on the railway tracks, causing a collision with a train. The car was going too fast and couldn't stop in time, colliding with the vehicle in front. The car changed lanes too quickly and crashed into the road barrier. Luckily, no one was injured. This is why drivers should always remember to observe while moving. The collision occurred because the two vehicles didn't keep a safe distance when passing each other. Anything on the railway tracks has the potential to be smashed. The accident occurred because both vehicles did not pay attention to their speed and did not observe. The driver tried to overtake but panicked, causing the car to lose control and self-inflict an accident. The container truck braked too suddenly, causing the trailer to detach from the cab. Perhaps the driver braked suddenly when they couldn't avoid the collision. The container truck seemed to lose control, veering off and forcing the adjacent car to follow. The car lost its brakes, but luckily didn't collide with any vehicles. The police car made a sudden turn, causing the following car to misunderstand and fail to avoid it. The car moved too quickly and couldn't avoid the vehicle in front. At this speed, it seems the driver was not focused, leading to the collision. A collision occurred between two container trucks as they both left the parking lot. The explosion happened unexpectedly. Luckily, everyone was safe. How could the two cars end up head-to-head like that? A seat fell off the car, obstructing the movement of the following vehicles. Perhaps the car was going too fast, causing the accident. The car lost its brakes and went through the intersection, causing a pileup. The explosion grew larger, but everyone was safe. The house collapsed. Let's hope no one was injured. Both vehicles were going quite fast. Unable to handle the situation when the collision occurred, after the initial collision, it seems the two vehicles still did not stop. Running a red light, the commercial vehicle caused an accident with the car. The driver was truly not paying attention while driving. The collision occurred while turning. The commercial vehicle veered off the main road. Luckily, no one was injured. Perhaps the car lost its brakes and couldn't stop. The accident occurred because the car lost balance. The collision was quite light, but the driver will receive a lasting lesson. The car couldn't brake in time before the collision. The car suddenly lost control and collided with the commercial vehicle beside it. Quite confusing. The truck in front successfully avoided the collision, but the following truck couldn't. The container truck braked suddenly, skidding and hitting the curb. The car tried to avoid the collision but couldn't. Although the accident isn't clearly visible, you can see how horrifying it is. After the collision, the car was hit by a commercial vehicle, pushing it into the curb. When driving out from inside, you should go slowly and observe carefully. The car lost control and veered off the road, causing the oncoming vehicle to fail to react in time. The car exploded. Luckily, it didn't affect anyone. The container truck made a wide turn and hit the streetlight pole. Luckily, the collision wasn't serious. The car tried to beat the yellow light, causing a collision. The car braked suddenly and skidded, but everything turned out okay. Running a red light usually causes an accident for yourself. The trailer detached from the cab. Luckily, it didn't cause an accident. The collision was light, but the lesson for both drivers is big. Whether it's a motorcycle or a car, you should always control your speed well. The commercial vehicle braked suddenly and skidded, but no collision occurred. The height of the vehicle greatly affects road safety. The car turned into an alley, colliding with a straight-going vehicle. Drivers should pay more attention to the road. Pay attention to your speed so everyone can stay safe. Just because of the excessive speed, all three vehicles got into an accident. The vehicle collided due to the close distance. The car unexpectedly got hit and swerved onto the road, causing a sudden accident for the vehicles behind. A tree by the roadside suddenly fell, blocking the view of the container truck. The container truck was hit at the rear because it stopped on the railway tracks. This could be called an accident caused by nature. The container truck was going too fast to brake in time and crashed into the vehicle in front. The car lost its brakes and caused an accident with another vehicle, resulting in serious consequences. The container truck tried to brake, causing it to lose balance and tip over on the road. The car lost its brakes while driving in a tunnel. Fortunately, the driver is fine. The vehicle suddenly fell from above. It's unclear what happened. Running a red light is an unforgivable mistake by the car driver. The car encountered an unexpected problem on the road. Fortunately, the accident wasn't severe. It's unclear whether the car lost control or if the driver wasn't paying attention to the road. The car lost its brakes, making the collision more horrific than ever. It seems no one noticed the car speeding past. Everything happened because the car was going too fast, putting itself in danger. A terrible accident caused by nature. The driver didn't observe carefully and avoided too closely, causing the accident. The car suddenly swerved, making it impossible for the container truck to avoid. small mistake can endanger an entire train. The accident happened due to the lack of observation by both drivers. A foreign object suddenly flew in. Fortunately, the driver had a steady hand. The train wheels came off the tracks, putting the entire train in danger. The car lost control from afar. The accident was just a matter of time. Despite efforts, the brakes seemed ineffective. The vehicle in front stopped too abruptly while the one behind was going too fast. The vehicle being too tall was also a factor in the collision. Whether the driver reversed or moved forward, there was a collision. It's really confusing. It seems both vehicles were trying to corner a car. The car was speeding and changing lanes abruptly, unable to avoid oncoming vehicles, leading to the accident. The container truck braked suddenly, causing its trailer to spin on the road. What was the driver paying attention to that made the car crash so irrationally? Sometimes I really don't understand how drivers maneuver. Even when crossing a small intersection, drivers should observe carefully. Why did the driver decide to overtake at such a distance? The driver will endanger themselves by overtaking like that. Your safety is entirely in your hands. Perhaps the driver didn't pay attention to the distance, leading to the collision. The driver probably didn't notice the car in front, causing the incident. Despite being hit a few times, the truck still tried to escape. A horrific accident happened with the container truck. Truly haunting. The container truck lost balance on the road, luckily not hitting the bridge. A rear-end collision due to not braking in time. Drivers should stay focused while driving. The two vehicles collided, but fortunately didn't cause any other accidents. The tall vehicle caught on overhead wires, but luckily didn't cause any damage. Changing lanes without observing, the car was hit by the container truck behind. Drivers should always be aware of their vehicle's height for safe driving. The container truck lost balance because the trailer was too heavy. Why did the car suddenly lose control and crash into the bushes? It's uncertain if the driver learned from this loss of balance. The motorbike tried to brake, but still fell. Perhaps this will be the last time the rider squeezes through traffic. The result of reversing without careful observation. The driver needs to be more attentive. The container truck was moving slowly across the tracks, and the inevitable happened. The car moved too fast and didn't make the turn in time, plunging into the water. After the collision, the car completely lost control, causing a horrifying accident. The car's speed was too fast. Everything suddenly went out of control. The collision seemed minor, but it was incredibly terrifying. The car suddenly lost control. Luckily, it didn't cause an accident for other vehicles. Losing balance? The excavator on top fell onto the road. The accident happened because the container truck behind braked suddenly, causing the trailer to skid. The accident was so horrifying that it was hard to see clearly what was happening. Due to the close distance, the car caused a severe collision. The road where the accident happened is prone to frequent accidents. The car lost control, swerving aimlessly on the road. This was the driver's fault for not securing the load properly on the truck. Perhaps the driver didn't notice that the car ahead had stopped. The train dragged everything blocking its path. The car lost control, swerving onto the road. Luckily, no one was injured. The car moved too fast and couldn't brake in time, crashing into the trees. The consequence of the driver not paying close attention on the road. The accident will undoubtedly leave the driver with a lifelong lesson. If you drive fast, an accident is bound to happen sooner or later. Fortunately, the accident did not injure anyone. The accident happened because the small car lost control of its speed. The accident happened because the driver was going too fast and not paying attention to the road. The container truck lost balance and overturned on the road. When the container truck tried to brake, a collision was inevitable. The small car lost its brakes and sped down the road. The small car changed lanes without carefully observing the road, causing an accident. Perhaps the driver simply pressed the gas pedal by mistake. Paying attention on the road is extremely important. The slippery road caused the car to brake suddenly and veer off the road. The collision caused the car to crash into a house. Luckily, no one was injured. The truck lost its brakes and sped wildly through the narrow alley. The container truck lost balance and overturned on the road. The small car lost its brakes and collided on the road, fortunately not falling into the river. Another accident caused by excessive speed. The cars tried to overtake each other too closely, causing a collision. The truck overtook too closely, causing an accident. The two cars collided on the snowy road, causing the truck to overturn. The small car was going too fast and collided with the car in front. The container truck braked suddenly, causing the truck to skid on the road. The consequence of two cars not paying attention on the road. The car lost control and swerved into the row of cars on the side of the road. The red car lost its brakes and crashed into the row of cars on the side of the road. Perhaps the two drivers didn't see each other at all. Parts fell off the car in front, causing the car behind to have a broken windshield. The truck in front suddenly swerved onto the road, causing the car behind to not avoid in time. After the collision, the car uncontrollably swerved off the road. The consequence of the driver losing focus on the road. Cars coming from blind spots. Never run a red light, drivers. When passing through intersections, drivers should go very slowly. The two cars collided at the intersection, but the consequences were not severe. The consequence of trying to overtake too closely. This is the consequence of the driver not observing when passing through the intersection. The car braked suddenly on the snowy road, skidded, and crashed into the roadside barrier. container truck braked suddenly, causing the wheels to skid, and the entire truck slid on the road. It's unclear why the car swerved and crashed into the store twice. The car swerved but didn't observe, resulting in a collision.